Hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody. Let's get started. Bird is still the word. I am at 107,000 soul memory if you would like to join. I am level 40. Hey, Agitated Tachyon. How's it going? Just going over what my soul memory is. 10730. Fragrant branching ore. Let's see here. Anything I haven't read yet? Oh, hopefully, whatever's stressing you out gets smacked around and you on top sometime soon. That's not really that interesting. I'm sure you'll do fine. And good luck in any case. One thing that struck me as interesting earlier, do I have it on this character? I was messing around on my Champion Covenant character earlier and I saw it, but I'm not sure if I have it on this character. Let's see here, what is on the menu today? I believe today I'm going to make a run at the Ruined Sentinels. They're next. Although I might push through the Shaded Woods. Ruined Sentinels would be good because then I can have access to Strayed. Shaded Woods is pretty neat if I can also do more of the Huntsman's Copse today, though I think I need an AoE spell to take care of that. Ruined Sentinels is interesting. I don't know, I haven't played them on a non-melee character, which is this, but in melee Ruined Sentinel strikes me as a damage race. The best thing is to pretty much either kill or nearly kill the first one that's up on the ledge, and then plunge attack the next one right off of the ledge. And then just be patient. But like, I haven't messed with them on a non-melee build, so who knows how that's gonna work out. I need a AoE spell, I believe, for Skeleton Lords. So let's see if Carhelion has something. Is this AoE? This might be a better AoE. Urine is kind of useless for Skeleton Lords. Kinda. I started with a sorcerer Most of my melee builds you could probably call spell blades, because I usually will get 10 intelligence to run magic weapon for the extra buff, and like buffing on top of lightning infusion is pretty nuts in this game. So, what didn't I read? But I'm still kind of building this character out, so like, who knows? Intelligence is probably gonna go to like a 25-ish. So like, almost all of my melee builds will have magic weapon just sitting in their back pocket. Yes. I gave her the patches. I gave her the patches treatment. I kicked her right off of the right off of the ledge. I gave her the patches treatment. What's really interesting about that, by the way, is that sorry, Moobot is a little overzealous sometimes. So I bought her hood because it's nice. I might buy her dress. One of the things that's really interesting about that, though, is that her and the starting class for Explorer ends up dying in a way that Melfia somehow gets her. Melfia... Did I go to the wrong bonfire? I'm pretty sure I went to the wrong bonfire. Go to tower part. Yeah. So, Melfia picks up their starting equipment and the Explorer's starting equipment and sells it back. I find that kind of interesting because of like some of the stuff Melfia gets up to, and how she's presented, and how like she's got darkness coming off of her hands. So that's fairly interesting. I've already messed with Sasquatch, I think. Yeah, I like her armor. I keep forgetting to buy her armor before I like use up all of my my souls. It's a pretty good question. I think it's probably the Abyss. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was the Deep. There's, like, one of the big themes in DS2 is, imitations. And imitations being as good as the real thing. Which might be a meta commentary. I mean... But who knows? If you're wondering why I haven't popped an effigy yet, it's because I want to knock out that statue first, just in case I die doing that. Yeah, well, the Abyss sucks things into itself too. And I think she pulls, and I think she pulls them out like the Shrine Handmaid does in DS3 to sell them. But I think it's more the Abyss than the Deep. I can't get over dagger critical damage in this game. This is a +0 dagger, by the way, and that did 750 damage on a backstab to this guy. What? To wait for him to come out of his animation before I can hit him. Alright, now I can pop an effigy. So yeah, I wonder if Melentia is a agent of the Abyss, and like, it's the way in which her character model has like this abyssal kind of darkness around her. Loki, what are you doing? My dog just entered the room and he started sniffing around. I'm like, what are you doing, dog? Loki has a command. It's exclamation point to Loki. If you want to see my little rapscallion of a dog. How did that hit me? Rapscallion. Look at these guys. Isn't there supposed to be a summon sign around here? That's why I'm still here. Time's up. Oh, I totally forgot he's like right there. Well, 198's not bad, I guess. Ah, that was terrible. Yeah, I knew there was a summon there, but I totally forgot where it was. But I wanted to see how spells damage him. I might go with Heavy Soul Arrow and conserve, it's, what's her face? Like, I had her name, Devotee Scarlet. Wasn't it her? I love and hate that you have to open this door every time. Alright, let's look around for this summon. I don't make it a habit of summoning. It's not a... It's not like a stubborn thing, but I generally find it easier without Radiant Life Gems. That'll come in handy. Yeah. Hey guys. What's the party over here? Huh. It might be because I don't have the actual soapstone. Pate, like, didn't give it to me, or I skipped something and didn't get the soapstone. I thought she would be, like, here. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get that sorcerer robe, too. Ah! I queued my spell. Ah. Dang it. Time was pretty much up there too, because I did see one of the other ruined sentinels. Alright, I'm gonna go to the Shaded Woods and do that for a little bit. Mostly since that fight is a DPS race. I'm not sure if I have enough DPS to... How did... lock on? Really? Guess I'm gonna have to start leveling up some actual attack stuff. Yeah, I already got it. Oh, Felicia? I wonder why her sign wasn't popping. It's not like I'm in Champion's Covenant or anything. Guess I'm gonna see if I can't open that. Yay, it's open. Pilgrim Bell Care is actually pretty good too. Titanite, Life Gem. Yeah, and I couldn't find the spawn at all. It might be because I don't have the large soapstone. I assumed so, and I was effigied. Dark Souls. .txt basically. So let's do this for a little bit. No survivors. Huh. Where is his gravestone? Like, I didn't kill him, he just left. He just pieced out. The only NPC I normally kill is Licia because she's annoying. Be nice to get strayed today, but I'm not gonna fret too much over it. If I can hit the Ruined Sentinel harder, I'll do that. Just do it that way. Bully it. Alright, I'll just check him then later. And get to the next bonfire. That's a really cool statue. Actually, the statuary in this section is super cool. Definitely seems to be a Guinevere statue, or a statue of a goddess of bounty. Most of the gods and goddesses in DS2 are imitations. Pale imitations, but still amassing some power. I think we'll see a better version of this statue over here. Yeah, she's holding a cornucopia, more or less, and she's standing on flowers, sunflowers basically. The thing is, she definitely does not look like Guinevere in DS1, but very similar. And I think that whole theme of imitations is very, it's not as overt in DS3 as it is in DS2, but it's very subtle in DS3. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused, in that the Queen of Lothric is an imitation of Guinevere, which is an imitation of maybe like this god of it's probably goddess of fortune. Alright, let's go check on Pate. Should be over here. And for everybody joining us, hi, hello, how are you? Oh, this is to Pursuer. Maybe it is this way. Tangerine. Walk on, please. Well, see you then. Is he still there? He is still there. Okay. Gimme, 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 gimme. Oh, okay. Well. Alright. Well, while we made the trek all the way here, let's read them. Be summoned as a phantom to another world in order to help that world's master for a certain time. You will be rewarded with a token of fidelity for successfully assisting the other player. The flow of time is distorted in these lands, and the white sign Soapstone allows undead to assist one another. Be summoned as a shade to another world in order to help that world's master for a certain time. The effect is not as long-lived as that of the white sign Soapstone, and it is only used in particular places. The small one is actually pretty good. You can summon them even if you already beat that boss or something, and you get a ticket to the bird lottery, which is always kind of nice. The jackpot in the bird lottery is the Channeler's Trident, so that you can do the stupid dance. I love that stupid dance. So good. Yeah, just keep doing the little bird lottery in 3.
Is that a ship here to see luck, however?
I had 3 of these things kind of hanging around. Alright. Back to where we were. Loki is taking up residence underneath my desk. So, down this way is towards Drangleic Castle, and you can see it framed in this amazing framing right here. You know, if there wasn't any UI stuff, that would be a great screenshot. Man, Drangleic Castle is so cool. So cool looking. But we need to go this way. And since I'm not a melee person, I'm just gonna run it. Yeah, you can see Drangleic Castle from pretty much everywhere. Like almost... Gosh dang it! Thought that was a phantom. Moobot does not care. Moobot does what Moobot does. Didn't think I aggroed that guy. What a jerk. Dude is a jerk. Magic is never going to be as powerful as it was in Demon Souls. Yeah, the phantoms, since I'm not melee, it's really kind of a pain in the butt. I'll be back for you, head. I still haven't messed around with a magic build in DS1. I have a magic build in Dark Souls 3 that I've pretty much soloed most of the bosses, actually all of the bosses in. And this is my first one for this game. Like, magic in Demon Souls was kind of ridiculous though. It was, I think, probably even more broken than it was in DS1. Hi, Note. How's it going? Welcome. So we have made it to a big... Oh, hey! Nice to see you. This one's pretty broken. Demon Souls magic, though, for realies. Little butterfly, why are you so pretty and yet so annoying? So we have escaped the Shaded Woods and those jerks, and we have made it to a huge ruin. That looks to have been pretty much abandoned for a few centuries. That guy right in front of me is an enemy, but I can't lock onto him because reasons, which makes him completely useless to me. I don't have any fragrant branches of yore, do I? Nope. So we come to... These things are annoying when you have, or unsettling, depends. Yeah, I do gotta do that. I saw a really cool, I don't know if you heard it, but I mentioned I saw a really cool, GIF of a guy just doing this huge plunging attack for the key to, the Iron Keep DLC. And that was fun. No! Oh, I don't have Ring of Whispers. And that is a really sad scorpion. His waifu wants him dead. Ah, dang it. Thought I could kill that crystal lizard. Shake fist. The DLC is so good, though. I love the DLC. I actually really like the second half of Dark Souls 2. It is some of my favorite storytelling in the series. But for me, I enjoy stories about people within the worlds that they get thrown into, rather than the worlds themselves. So seeing the struggle of Vendrick and his eventual failure in Aldia, be Aldia, was a lot of fun. Let's go meet a guy. It was really creepy. So we have fallen a bit underground. And homing soul mass. There's still, yeah. So it seems that somebody built this little cavern for this dais, and there's the hole for the outside world right above us. The dais is very similar to that which we see in Things Betwixt, except it doesn't have the amount of like carvings on the floor. Also very similar to Demon Souls. Let's talk to Darth Grandahl. He stole that wheelchair from his friend Gehrman. Gehrman and Grandhal basically sit around playing poker in their wheelchairs all the time. Now that's a very similar sign-off to Uria and Yol, asking you to let the dark sigil light their way. The dark is still nascent within you. The dark is still small within you, and then he wants the dark to shine away. He wants us to basically embrace our humanity, because the humanity is of the dark, and each person has a bit of the dark soul within them, but because there's always a but. And so you never want to touch these things, because they will break your crap, because whoever built this cavern is a bunch of jerks. The exit's over there. And down, I think that way is Ornifex, but I don't have her keys, so whatever. I think Grandhal really wants to lead you towards your own conclusion, but it's a conclusion he approves of. Let me switch. Homing soul mass, I guess. Oh, no. Need a bit more intelligence. Yes, I know, there is a treasure chest right above me. I'll get there. Yeah, Darklurker not having a set is, my dinky. Come over here. Yay. Now run! Darklurker. I think Darklurker is super interesting now. Even more now that angels have made their true appearance. Because Darklurker looks like a angel from like real life traditional artworks. Yeah, it's not like... Yeah. Do I really need Tark? I don't know. How is Tark as a summon anyway? I haven't spoken to him. Should... But I don't have his ring. There's lots of jerks. Lots and lots of jerks. It's not like they want to revel in the dark, but it seems Londor and Grandhal want you to acknowledge and grow the dark as a source of strength, because that is a specifically human source of strength, rather than it is specifically anybody else. Yeah, Twitch has a bit more, since I sit on the floor in front of a television, Twitch has a lot more tools for automated moderation. I throw everything to my YouTube, but really, you guys, seriously? I don't suspect Najka is weak to magic, but let's see. Yeah, she's definitely not. Well, that's better. I'm just missing these dodges. Can you do something, please? Run! I'm out. I'm not gonna have enough magic for this. Plink, plink. Baby mage. Yeah, it's it's actually a lot easier than Ruined Sentinels. I did try Ruined Sentinels earlier tonight, and I do a lot more damage, but not fast enough. This is just rhythm game. Dark Souls, the rhythm game. Like, that's how I approach Souls. I approach it as a rhythm game. And in that, it is a lot fairer than Drakengard 3 and its final boss. Those who've played Drakengard 3 will know what I'm talking about. I avoid it sometimes, but I actually have, I'm in between where I normally stop. I'm either really good at the lowest ADP or where I usually stop for ADP. Welp. She was actually hitting me before I can dodge the soul mass and got hit by the soul mass. My melee builds just clowned it. Persistence, dogged persistence, because we are a dogged contender. To quote a future Prince Lothric, I do miss the "you defeated" notation. So, back to me thinking that the Dark Souls 2 graphic engine, because they use a middleware for their physics and cloth physics engine, Havoc, that which is going to be why there's like hallways, lots and lots of hallways. But let's take a look up. Lots of holes. The lighting's really good, actually. Thanks, Tangerine. Kind of looks like an anthill, except from within. Which is probably what Scorpioness Najka does normally. And it's probably a clue as to what she ends up doing. But pointing your camera upwards This item, by the way, is kind of a Soul of a Lost Undead or something like that. It's not really that important. But to get this item down, you have to stand here and have Najka knock it down. So yeah, here's a weakness of the graphic engine that they use for DS2. Lots of little load seams like this. Lots of underground locations. Destiny does this too, by the way, if you've played Destiny. Lots of little transition zones. He's cool, but not right now. Back to Majula. There's Drain Lake Castle. So, there was one thing I wanted to mention that I saw when I was playing back the footage so I can timestamp everything, is that they make a mention of a unexplored continent to the north that is filled with things inhuman. Lordran? Question mark? I'm sure somebody's like asked that question before, but yeah, I need to keep some for some spells. Yeah. It's thematically, that's definitely how you want to think about it. The big major theme in the first half of Dark Souls 2 is about imitations. There's lots of imitations that have become the real thing in Dark Souls 2. And it might be a meta commentary on the whole game itself. But imitation is a major theme within Dark Souls 2, at least its first half, although it does, it is present in the second half of the game, is a pretty neat thing, and I think that theme got missed a lot in the echo chamber of herp derp, Dark Souls 2 is bad. I'm gonna pick this one up. Yeah, I can use that. Oh, I have more? Okay. Oh yeah, the ones that light up like in the house. Yeah. Especially since Dark Souls 2 has, what, 47 bosses, I want to say? When everything is said and done. I need a large Titanite shard. I don't have it here. Actually... Like my big, as much as I like DS2, my big criticism for it, something I've been saying since my platinum runs through on YouTube, is that it suffers from sequelitis. Like, I think the development teams had a lot of pressure on them to come up with something great to match Dark Souls 1's success, and so they shoved everything into it. Yeah, only Pursuer. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Smithing. Smithing. If you want to complain about smithing, go play Demon Souls, or look at the Demon Souls flowchart. Oh my gosh! The Demon Souls flowchart. By the way, if you are in North America and you need a pure Bladestone, let me know. I will give you one in Demon Souls. Oh, my screen is asleep. Why? But thank you for the follow. Who just followed? Let me get your name. I don't know why my screen is asleep, but it is. My computer is separate from my television, but my Kagero, welcome. Thanks for the follow. It's nice to have you here, chatting about different things. Yeah. Upgrade system in DES. Oh boy. Oh yeah, it's 13.4. Oh, go ahead. Definitely put them down here. It is more than useful to talk about things that come before. I wanted to get the silver cat ring, but for some reason I thought it was 5,500. But it's 13.4, so I guess I'll just buy another spell. Sleeps only 2. Yeah, like Hade's Tower of Flame reminds me of Santorini Island, and I'm pretty sure that, like, I'm not sure if that was their direct inspiration, but it definitely reminds me of Santorini Island. All right, let's go back to the Doors of Pharros. Doors of Pharros is either a quick run or a long meander, depending on how you go about things. What we find out about the Blue Sentinels is they became basically the Yakuza. They're running protection rackets in... Log on, please! That's my actual big concern with, Yeah, I'm just gonna let it die. That's my actual complaint for the mechanics, is that lock-on is a hyperactive poodle. By the way, this looks like... Hold on. Where's my Nox? This is a snake and or a alligator. This rock formation. It's kind of a nice touch. I'm more inclined to call it a snake because dragons and stuff. But it also kind of looks like an alligator. I see what you're doing, Tanemura. I see you, baby. There was no souls. So, Targray and the Blue Sentinels being kind of corrupt is really thematically interesting. This guy had like one job. Yeah, Licia is really just really bad at her grifting job. I followed her quest to the completion. Is Targray Sincere? Oh, right. It's because I haven't seen him the second time yet. Lonesome Gavlan will show up here once I find him in the poison swamp. And Targray is also using Solaire's voice actor, so there's that. Yeah, he just stands there. He's just there. Like I was mentioning earlier, the sequelitis that the development teams had, they like put everything they can think of, and they didn't really develop one thing as well as they should have. Eat it, Crystal Lizard. Like what we know about Volgin, DS2, I love DS2, but what I love about DS2 is in the second half of the game. The first half of the game, there's a lot of really cool NPCs and a lot of cool areas. But there's too many cool NPCs, and they all compete for airtime. And so I don't think many of them are as well developed as they should be. Me too. And the fact that one of the main themes in DS2 is imitations serving as, because they're good enough when the situation is dire enough, is such a good theme, and it is low-key referenced in DS3. Aldia. Aldia is my favorite NPC. He makes you... He's not a nice man, and he's basically a villain, but all of the questions he asks, or makes you ask, as to the nature of what you've seen up into those two games, and then have those questions and his comments echoed in DS3. So good. Lucatiel and Benhart are the two most fleshed out NPCs in the first half of the game. I adore the way that they've put together Aldia's dialogue lines. Very reminiscent. We'll get to this later, but I want to talk about it now. In Shadow of the Colossus, and I'm sure most of you guys, if not all of you, have played Shadow of the Colossus once, but if you have not, Dorman, which is backwards for Nimrod, yeah, Dorman has two voice actors, a male and a female, and it's to suggest a genderless kind of Nimrod, because it's a Nimrod reference. And Aldia is basically a reference to that for virtually the same reason. And it's so good. Yeah. And the best line that Aldia says isn't David Gant really taking primary role in it. It's Alsana's voice actor. As far as... I think JSF said it was Alsana's voice actor. Oh, I need to switch some spells around. Because I can't use this one. And it is, chase the whims of love, I think the line is. Soul of a nameless soldier, soul of a nameless soldier. Lore-wise, these are the Falconers. Yeah. And it reminds me so much of one of my favorite lines in Macbeth, too. The tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow soliloquy from Macbeth. And I think that was intentional by the localizers. And it's... the state of Aldia. Why is my computer's monitor just shutting down? Well, thank you very much. It's probably a follow. But, yeah. Computer monitor being silly. Yeah, I'm all about saying no, and if it was me, ego! If it was me, I probably wouldn't perpetuate the fire. But there's a certain bravery in letting the fire fade. Because, ego, thank you for the host. Because my email didn't have a thing. Yeah. Like, there's a certain bravery in letting the fire fade, because everybody knows what happens when you link the fire. But nobody knows, and that unknown, that just sheer unknown, yeah. Well, Lulasil and New Londo became that way because they actively messed with forces they didn't understand. Or sheer greed, which is a big theme for the whole franchise of itself. Like, the franchise talks a lot about the sin of greed with humanity. Humans want more power. Humans, grasp and strive for more. I'm not sure if the franchise actually indicts the characters for it, but there's a strong argument to suggest that they do. Like, that's probably humans' #1 sin, is humans want. And that's a huge sin. Oh, well, that was my fault. Who says it? Is it Chester? That they dug up the primeval man? And they drove him insane because of their meddling? This is the Brightstone Tseldora. One of the things I did want to mention, though, is the Falconers only appear in very specific locations. They appear here. They appear in the lead up to Dranglake Castle. And they appear in Things But Twixt in New Game Plus. Daggers, man, they don't do anything. And is it greed for a person to want to stay alive, to protect your way of living? The game seems to think so. And you know, Agitated Tachyon, you do find their shield in Farron Keep, right? Road of Sacrifice's side? Hey. I've got a bird on my armor. By the way, speaking of that bird, since it's come up, the eagle is normally a symbol of strength, but in Lanafear, it symbolizes wealth. Lanofear is the farthest land to the south and follows a strict edict of isolationism. The rare visitor from Lanofear is always a little odd. Poor Moobot. Usually I don't see Moobot at all. Today I've seen Moobot a couple of times. Poor Moobot. Maybe I'll have to adjust how many caps I allow. I think it's 20 right now before it freaks out. You dummy. You're supposed to get out of the way of the boulder. Also, hilarious note, the sound effect they use for that boulder falling into the pit is a bowling pins, and it never fails to make me laugh. Buddhism. The only constant is suffering. Entropy, sort of. There's also, yeah, Entropy and Sin. Like, for me, Velka isn't interesting because she's Velka, but she is interesting for what she says about sin. And what sin is in this universe. I want to see how this was with groups. That's not bad. There's always a bit of... the translation bit is always kind of an interesting thing. Yeah, when in doubt, Velka did it. Or when in doubt, Sullivan did it. One or the other. That's become sort of a joke for me. Tachyon saw a joke I did in the first stream. Oh, I could just imagine. Graves' reaction. Redgrave's reaction to Velka theories. Oh my gosh. I've seen some really nutty theories up the grapevine. Yep, that's yeah. From what JSF has told me about Redgrave, and from seeing some of the Redgrave's like videos. Yep. That seems very much Redgrave. I'm just gonna kill a boss. In New Game Plus, the main boss of the area shows up right there. It's really interesting. And it also retains damage. Oh, come on. Really? The real boss is getting to it. Jeez. Let me just turn around. Run! Yeah, Pinwheel, I think, is a set piece boss. Like, it's not meant to be. I had to close the door when I got hit? It's so nuts. Well, time to go back and run. Sort of like the Wyvern. It's not a challenging boss, but it is a set-piece boss. There's a lot of those kind of set-piece bosses in Dark Souls 3, and a lot of mini-bosses. Yeah. Invincibility frames only gets you so far. Or not at all. But yeah, like Velka as a character, I don't really care too much about. I care about what Velka as a I care about Velka as a plot point and as a prop rather than as a character. She tells us what sin is. Just gonna start killing these guys now. Only took forever. That's a trap, don't touch it. I need to keep drafting, because I have a draft about the last flame. Because when there's a first flame, there's a last flame. I've been stuck on how to start that essay though. New clothes. Maybe I'll do a costume change. Yeah. The TLDR of it is humanity as a flame. Because there's more than just the flame we know of. There's cold, which is a flame. Well, that was a mistake. Man. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Dodge, dodge, strafe, cast. The Fires of the Abyss are the last flame, maybe, and then you've got Cold, which, Freezer Burns, I think is a theme they, like, kind of dropped the ball on a little bit in 3. Yeah. Do I have any better spells for this? Spells are really good for single targets, but you have to take out more than one. It's a little more hairy, which is actually the problem with the Ruined Sentinels. And you can't use that yet. Yeah, because Ruined Sentinels is a DPS race, but like getting the damage in on him fast enough so that you can move on to the next one is difficult. Yeah, bells are super cool. And maybe the bell thing is an imitation of the Bells of Awakening from 1 that some cleric put together as like a sacred chime. Can probably go for the big guy, or not. Ah, it wasn't behind him. Oof, dang it. Yeah. Hey, he looks cool. Also, I really like how those hollows look. They look like they have Dark Souls writing along. Yeah, with an actual congregation, seriously. Need to be faster. Actually, do I have some things? Yeah. I has an idea. One idea before I have to go upgrade my staff or something. There's a lot of things that are just cooler in Scholar. Dark Souls' version of Armored Core revisions. Yes. Because cold can burn just as well as fire can burn. Why is it throwing elsewhere? Ah, that sucks. You guys were so lucky. Yeah, lock-on is really bad in this game. It's like... it's super bad. That's actually the one mechanical complaint I actually have, is that lock-on just flips its crap all the time. Well, that worked. Let me see here. Real blades won't help. Try that. Lock-on is so bad. Yeah, you might as well. I got it for like, I don't know, 20 bucks. I don't, how used to vanilla are you? Because it does a lot of the same things that Armored Core revisions do in Armored Core. All 5 mainline Armored Core games have revisions. Like 4 is For Honor, 5 is Verdict Day, stuff like that. So it really depends on how used to vanilla you are. If you're used to vanilla, you might hate Scholar. And mostly because you are used to it already. It just surprises me how many people were surprised that Scholar was a thing. Although I'm more surprised that Dark Souls didn't have more revisions a la Armored Core. Oh, that counter damage. Yeah, I don't think they will do an anniversary edition. And even if they did an anniversary edition, like I don't think they would fix Lost Izalith. Yeah, it was pretty close that time. They got me on counter damage. I probably should kill them first. Yeah, they were not having my crap, stupid clerics. Alright, let's do a quick costume change. Let's get some more magic resistance. Yeah, whatever. What's fun is This makes you play in a different way than Melee. Bosses that are really easy in Melee are actually kind of hard when you're just a pure caster. But one-on-one fights are way easier. Give me that slab. Yeah, buffs are... Oh boy! Lightning's Vayhander with magic weapon? Yeah, that was my platinum character for a little while. Good luck, Tatian. Have a good one. Thanks. So, let's... Do they have a soul? They don't have a soul. So let's talk a little bit about the congregation and the Magus. The Magus is tossing out hexes, which, hexes in DS2 are twisted versions of Ulasil magic from DS1. And they revert back in DS3. For instance, Twisted Barricade that you can get in Doors of Pharros is Twisted Wall of Light in DS3. They just are like inverted of one another. And remind me if I like trailed off on a thought because I was concentrating on the game, just remind me of what I was talking about and I'll finish the thought. A woman holding a... Is that a talisman? It's a talisman. Actually, looks like hair. It's probably the Velka talisman, isn't it? And reading from a book. So, this could have been a Velka thing, but it doesn't look like a chime. It looks like a talisman. I'd have to look, keep a thought out for it. Yeah, it does make sense that it could be Chime of Screams. Yeah, the partner's upstairs. Speaking of the partner, let's go see him. Cromwell's better, but this guy's cool. And note, there's a cracked red-eye orb right here, right on the property. And there's this guy. In a world full of imitation gods, the fact that there is still a partner is interesting. So all of regret, all of these emotions are the regret, anger, sadness. They, according to Cromwell, are part of the essence of life. Now, I forgot about this line, but think about that line in regards to Aldea. It's a very good foil for Aldea's lines. Yes, and those emotions are tied to hexes, which are also tied to sin. But hexes are basically either Ulasil magic or inverted miracles. And most of the hexes turned back into golden sorcery in DS3. So maybe the hexes are imitations of those Ulasil magics. Because imitation and imitating things is a big thing in DS2. But I'm just throwing out a bunch of different ideas. If you guys have any better ones, let me know. Yeah. Now that's funny, because you can still go through all of that rigmarole even if you've never sinned. Dark Souls 3, it's like, you didn't sin, why do you need a pardon? So let's see what he's got. He's got the White Priest headpiece. Traditional skirt worn by Drangleic clerics. The clerics of Drangleic were not viewed with particular reverence, and their positions were only preserved as a nod to tradition. It is customary for clerics to wear different garb depending on their sex, but the reason for this practice is unknown. This is a men's skirt. Yes. This is the boss stuff from downstairs. I've got the female skirt, the female stuff. So, here's a bit of Drangleic culture. Drangleic is very pragmatic. Vendrick, as per the first Dragon Ring and the Royal Ring, suggests that Vendrick is much more he favors strength over than like hope and pixie dust. He's a very pragmatic guy. And yeah, Lindelt, and even more than that, Volgin. Yeah, Volgin. And it suggests a lot of the pragmatism Drangleic had. And they only kept these things because, you know, inertia and tradition and stuff like that. But yeah, like, even more so, Volgin is suggested to be this power-hungry house that hides behind guises of religion and stuff like that. Also the Blue Sentinels. Lindelt being a different place for different reasons. He also sells the bite rings, which were Kareem in DS1 and in DS3. They're out and out said to be from Kareem. Arstor made them. Earl Arstor. Whose spear is pretty neat in DS3. You know. similar, oddly disturbing design of these rings suggests a common source. Whoever the master craftsman was, he knew his trade. These are probably the real thing. There's a teeny tiny little skull in the Curse Bite ring because that's how Curse gets shuffled around like Russian nesting dolls. Probably not. Or not in the way like we know democracy. Because in the Souls world, whether it's Lordran or Drang Lake, a king is a supernatural. Let me back up a little bit. And if you've read my essay, Mandate of Embers, you'll know where I'm going to go with this. The Fires has its will. The Fires has its own will. Apart from the Soul of Cinder, apart from Lords of Cinder past, the Fire has its own will. Granted, this will might be kind of simple. It would be consume, but it blesses that person, that one person who has demonstrated power and seized it, granting that person what I call the Mandate of Embers. It works very similarly to the Mandate of Heaven with Imperial China, where, as you probably know already, Chinese imperial dynasties were cycles, and the way that those cycles were determined was that everyone believed that heaven granted this person power to be an emperor, and heaven can take that power away. And it is also part of the Mandate of Heaven that when the power is taken away, it is shown in plagues, in the world going to crap, the world going to hell in a handbasket, or Jigoku in a handbasket. And it became up to anybody who could, and it wasn't just nobility, or it wasn't somebody who was going to be a king anyway. It could be the commonest person, a farmer, to rise up and bind his people together and take out that leader who demonstrably didn't have the Mandate of Heaven anymore. And this could have been from anyone, and it was their duty to do that. So I think Dark Souls at its very core kind of works that way. The Fire grants its power to the Lord of Cinder, to the king, the person who demonstrates their kingliness. The world floods with souls, and then when they do something that is against the Fire's will, the Fire revokes that power, and the game starts at that decline. So that's kind of where I connect the Mandate of Embers to the Dark Souls world, and how, at least politically, this works. Religious political stuff. Let's go over some of these miracles, because some of these are brand new. And one thing I wanted to ask some of the new people is something that I'm really interested about, and that is caressing prayer. This is super interesting because it becomes Keitha's caressing tears in Dark Souls 3. An elementary miracle for clerics. Purifies the body, removing all poison. Yeah, it's not really sexy, but you know. Let's skip ahead to the sexy part. This spell was recently developed and may not be an authentic miracle. This spell becomes Keitha's Caressing Tears. What do you guys make of that? Did it get attributed to Keitha later? Is it a real miracle? Does it matter? Replenishment's also really interesting too, and I already did read this, but for those who need to be refreshed, there's a story passed down through generation claiming this band of knights once felled a poisonous dragon which menaced an entire nation. And we'll meet him later, that's Sin. Yeah, I think Keitha is an imitation god. But who is she imitating? I'm not quite sure. But in the end, imitations become powerful enough anyway that doesn't really matter. But still, I think that's really telling about who Keitha may or may not be. I think, yeah, I definitely think this is about Sin. And the Drakebloods. I completely forget what this says in DS3, because this is also in DS3. Great Heal is new, and I like this flavor text. Only a select few have learned to recite this epic romance in its entirety, but those who do are amply rewarded. And we can probably assume this is a quote, restoration of the old miracles, because most, if not all of the miracles in DS2 at least, are restored versions from DS1. And I like the fact that there's an epic romance in that. And could be Guinevere and Flan, but it doesn't really say, and there's no more evidence other than it was a romance. You can just hear me shrugging my shoulders at that. Keitha is from DS2. Keitha is introduced in DS2. Her symbol, when you put on the stone plate ring, is a green tear, which is probably a combination of the red and blue tear stones, because that makes green. And we already went over Elvana, but Elvana is probably just a renamed Pharros. Because history, like, the present becomes past, past becomes history, history becomes legend, legend becomes mythology, and mythology becomes deities, which is basically what happens a bunch of times in DS3. Stamina up, Delaciel. Stamina up. Anyway, Heavenly Thunder is a new one. Amidst lightning in random directions, scholars bicker over whether this is the original lightning spear or a derivative. One can never gain full control of the power of the gods, but with a little favor from Lady Luck, this spell will destroy your foes. Remember, yeah, Filianor SP regen. Keep growing. Keep growing. That's pretty interesting, but I don't really have anything to say about that right now. Perseverance enwreathes its caster with a pure veil, grants temporary resistance to status effects. Lindelt ascetics are sent to different lands for proselytizing and self-training, but many of them decide not to return. They taste forbidden knowledge and decide, nah, no thanks. And here's our first hex, I think, from a vendor. And our first mention of Lavlan, One of my favorite NPCs because he's a jerk. An esoteric spell created by Navlan, the infamous exiled sorcerer. Awakens the souls of long-buried dead. The heretic Navlan was executed along with his entire village, and the mere utterance of his name became a crime. Some say it was because he sought to restore the banned art of resurrection. So, considering we meet Navlan later, did he resurrect himself? Did he figure out Tears of Denial and, like, dragged himself to Aldea? Or did Aldea grab his body and resurrect him and force him to do some things? Because it tells you he's got dead. He got deaded. But Navlan's a real guy who we meet. And we lie to a whole lot. Yeah. Because when you die and you come back, you don't come back the same way. Or at least that's how it is in fiction. There's a bonfire ascetic. Cleric's small shield. Fading souls. And a fatal soul. Excuse me, sir. Sir. Thanks. Cleric small shield. Does that say anything interesting? Nah. But it does do spell parry, which is pretty neat. Yes! Exactly, Delacille. That's what's super cool. Like, did he die and figure out how to resurrect himself to get immortal life? Is that what got him on Aldea's radar? Did he cheat on death? It definitely seems different than merely being undead. And apparently it kinda worked. Kinda. Because we do meet Navlan later. Gives me conniptions. I'm telling you.
Bearer of seek the king. That is the only way. Lest this man swallow you whole.
Yeah. So, like, did Navlan steal some of Nito's power? Did he figure out some of Nito's power? I've got 3. I mean, I did. I only joined Nito's, Wait, am I still in her menu? Get out of my... No. I need to hit up McDuff for a moment. Miracles are tales of the gods passed down long ago, but only a small number of original tomes remain in their entirety and are restored. I agree. I can agree with that, Delacille. One day I will have the stats for a real weapon. Death is usually everybody fears death. And Aldia says this later, but life, living, it fills us with comfort. People want to live. They want to be. And they will do anything to do that. They are very greedy for life and what life gives us. And they can't accept death. They want to cheat death every so often. And Nito embodies death to a way that nobody else does, not even the undead. And that probably fills a lot of people with fear. And everybody has sin, even the gods, so Velka had to do something. He doesn't have anything, do I? Yeah. I wish we got more from Agdane, because I'm really intrigued by Agdane. But, like, we don't really... Yeah, like, basically. But, like, I definitely wanted more from Agdane than what we got. Alright, what's next? Go deal with Huntsman's cops, I guess. And fix the fashion, because the fashion I don't really care for. But we don't get much from Agdane. Just that everybody ends up dead, no matter who they are. While I was timestamping, I looked up Falcon, and there is a guy in real life who was born in the late 1800s named Robert Falcon, who was a hermetic mage. Falcon might be an homage to that. Falcon the Outcast, I mean. Oh man, I'm gonna have to go into the skeleton cave for a spell. And here comes the chosen undead, comes walking along. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. I need to get somewhere. You're in the way, and you're wearing weird masks. I guess you all die now. I guess I'm Giant Dad now. Happy Father's Day, Giant Dad. That Havoc physics engine bug. I think Ian B mentioned this, like in his very excellent From the Dark series, and he mentioned that the undead must be in a lot of pain because you see a lot of boils and a lot of their skin is not in a good way. It's not in a good place. So, like, if I pulled off my armor, besides the dark sign on your shoulder, like, your skin is kind of flaking away, and that must be painful. Those enemies wear the giant mask. I'm gonna run in here real quick. That's that idea. Well, okay. Ah, dang it. Huh. That sounds like a cool premise. Winning a coiled sword off of a priest. Get out of the way, running man. There's a guy we'll meet. Okay, I'm going to try and open this bonfire before I go into the skeleton area. What's going to be really difficult for skeleton lords is pretty much the same reason Magus and Congregation took so long. Crowds are not good for sorcerer builds. How the heck? Yeah, it's just a lot of skeletons. Yeah, that's pretty much why I got Soul Barrage. But you only get 4 casts of it. And it's not quite as powerful as I'd like it to be. So I'm going to head back and grab that bonfire. And we're going to harass some skeletons. And we're going to meet another NPC. Yet another one. By the way, knave is an amazing insult and everybody needs to use it more. him becoming Rosaria's finger makes a lot of sense to me. But I wish there was more about him in DS3. I kind of wish Pate and Creighton were more spy versus spy in DS2. Nave is so good though. I'd have to look it up. It's why Cirrus went after him. Unless it just lists him as Rosaria's finger, Creighton and Mira. I'd have to look it up. But you really want to talk to him for this gesture. I always do it wrong. It's options. Yeah! Fist pump! The gesture system in DS2 is top tier. I'll be right back. And then light a torch. Because while I can see it, I'm pretty sure you guys can't. Yeah. Yeah, Leonhard is ring finger, yellow finger, oh, there it is. Ah, try lever. Where'd the lever go? Ah, I couldn't. Dodge. Eeh. Beep. Ah, no! 60 F for yes. Yes! Alright. We're kind of safe right now. Leonhard is the ring finger. I like that Leonhard is the ring finger because he thinks of himself as married to Rosaria. Just wasting soul spears. Okay. Necromancer's dead. It's a neat detail. And again, I wonder if it's because they're trying to say something about imitations. And if the necromancers are practicing an imitation version of necromancy. And that it's not like true necromancy. Where is the lever? Is it on this side? Or is it not on the wall? Or is it this? Well, took a light anyway. The lever's over there. Why is it over there? Probably Shaded Woods. Seems nice. What a rude skeleton. That's the spell I want. This, So this is the doorstep to Skelly's. Yeah, I mean, I suspect before it collapsed, it would have been okay. The thing about DS2 is you don't really see a whole lot of, like, cities. you don't see a whole lot in terms of like, here is the city of Drangleic, because Drangleic Castle is like isolated, and it is an island. Ah, no. No, Crystal Lizard is worth dying over. There's a flask shard, which I also need. I missed it. Didn't turn the camera far enough. But we got what we wanted in the cavern, which is the big important part. Yeah, Shovel would be a good place to be. But I don't really count it as part of this past cycle. It's like a cycle before. Okay, so that area is settled. So from here you can definitely check out the Colosseum from a better angle. Yeah, I'm just gonna shoot the Colosseum from here. I'm actually kind of sad we don't go to the top. Look at those huge swords! Those are just like giant bastard swords up top. No, Snipe Guts, who's at the other end of that bridge, right in the middle of the screen. In the back. Guts with a shield. Alright, so... Okay, so we picked up Combustion in the... Combustion was my go-to for farming in the depths. You know where, to get those green large Titanite shards and large Titanite shards. Just equipped Combustion and went to town. Alright, so this area is basically complete. Yep. It didn't take very long either. I like zoned out and listened to music while I was just hitting Combustion. What was I doing? I want to take another run at Tower Apart's probably the better place to go. At Ruined Sentinels before I call it an evening. Because we're almost out of time. Mostly because, yeah, grinding in a lot of games, for me at least, is really peaceful. Give me a Final Fantasy game that needs some grinding, or general RPG, and I'll just zone out and meditate on something else. Interesting. Well, that's not good. Well, I break 200 damage. Was early. Oof, I did not see that coming. Time was up. Ah, dang it. I spent way too many Estus on the first one. Yeah. Yeah, the depths is a fun time. I mean, a lot of people don't. It depends on your how you work with video games. Like for me, when I sit down to farm, I'm I'm probably just meditating, or just doing repetitive things. He's not going to drop the spell yet. The big pyromancy mummy guys can drop their spell. I'm going to take one more run. So is there, like, anything else that you... Are you coming back? So they start from the top and they go down. Oof. Dang it. Yee. Yeah, that was super close. Trying to keep them both in my... both in my my vision. Actually, I think I'm gonna take one more stab at it. If I switch to my normal soul arrow, I'll have the speed. So, should try it. Oh no! Shake a fist. Those paths are specifically there for when you're not paying attention, you're thinking about something else. I like the Ruined Sentinels. They're imitations of knights. imitation knights. They're basically golems, aren't they? So they're kind of hollow suits of armor. Well, it kind of also makes sense, because Aldia was basically messing with that kind of thing too, and he was messing with Resurrection, see also Navlan. No! Damn it. Well, it insinuates that the Lost Bastille had some connection with Drangleic. And Vendrick in particular, in that they had a vested interest in making sure maybe the Lost Sinner stayed there. Or have a vested interest in keeping Strayed exactly where he is. But like as we noted earlier, like the whole reason No Man's Wharf is even a thing is because they were transporting undead to the Lost Bastille. Because there's no real way for the wharf to like even exist. The only thing that throws people off is that these guys are named. Oh, that was so close. I'm dead. Yeah. Took the heal late. I guess this is telling me I need to pump my ADP again. Funny too, because Rune Sentinels they're not that big a deal for me in melee. You hurry up and kill one, then you make it a point of keeping the other two in your camera, and you're generally fine if you poke them. Sorcery will take a bit of doing. And yeah, Royal Swordsman, stuff like that. Royal Swordsman and Ruined Sentinels are only there when you're close to something that they would rather you didn't get close to. How did I get hit there? I'm just gonna drop. Okay. I thought I could Yeah. 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 I thought they activated as soon as I killed the first one, but okay. That was me experimenting. So, like, the Ruin Sentinels are all golems. And as we found... Yeah, we're pretty much done. I'm gonna hit 3 hours, and then I'm gonna call it an evening. One more run, though! Yeah, that's... If I wasn't streaming, I'd just sit here and do it for, like, a few hours. And figure it out. Not the first time From has golems, though. I think Kingsfield has it, too. Kingsfield has the same giants DS2 and DS2 has. I don't understand why I'm not getting the summon sign for whatever their name is. Felicia, I thought? Okay, that was stupid bad. Yeah. Alright, that's it. Going back to Majula. That's the omen. Elizabeth Mushroom. Oh yeah, that reminds me. I know I read Dark Troches the last stream, but yeah, they link Dark Troches to Elizabeth, Saint Elizabeth, and Saint Elizabeth is the same as the mushroom. Well, they're the same as Kingsfield 4 giants, which I'm pretty sure they got the design inspiration from. I've said it in the past, but I think DS2 has a lot in common with Kingsfield 4. And like Dark Souls in and of itself is a mishmash of Kingsfield and Shadow Tower. I mean, there's literally a Shadow Tower over there. But like Dark Souls 2 leans more on the Kingsfield side than the Shadow Tower side, like Dark 1 and 3. Okay, so is there like as we wrap up tonight, is there anything you guys want to talk about that we talked about? Any other thoughts? Any thoughts I might have trailed off and didn't get back to that you want me to finish up?
Here to see light, however.
Ah yes, I do remember that there's a Sublime Modest and Huntsman's Cog that I did not go to. I'll get to it next time. But back to that one thought I had though, the site, like, they like commemorating knights by remaking or imitating their accoutrement. Do I have it on this character? Cyan? Yeah, Cyan. Like the Cyan's armor, they like recreating the accoutrement of knights that have fallen as a sort of memorial for all of that. So this armor is an imitation of the original, but the imitations are just as linked to the original as the original is, and also drive people insane. And like that, they recreated the Ruin Sentinel armor and made them golems. Makes sense. Yeah, and it, like Vendrick separating his soul and putting it with his crown, and we'll get to the importance of crowns as a FromSoft trope, because crowns figure into more than just Dark Souls games. Hell, crowns are even in Adventures of Cookies and Cream. That's just it's just the FromSoft trope. FromSoft has a fascination with crowns. But we'll get to that. And him putting his crown with his soul, it says something about Vendrick, and it says something about like the importance of that crown and how attached those crowns are to the souls that have them. At least in Dark Souls 2. In Adventures of Cookies and Cream, it bestowed them with bravery, so there's that. But crowns in Dark Souls didn't start with Dark Souls 2. It actually started with Dark Souls 1. The whole crown thing in Dark Souls 2 didn't come from nowhere. In Dark Souls 1, when you hit New Game Plus, you can buy Gwyn's crown. You can wear it around like a jaunty hat. It doesn't really do anything, but the flavor text tells us that there was power imbued with it. And after Gwyn like split his soul apart a bunch of times, it lost its power. Crowns in Dark Souls 2 all have faint traces of power, and they all like add to physical, and they prevent the curse. Which is probably how Gwyn actually became hollowed in the first place. He split his soul apart so many times that his crown lost its power, and it couldn't prevent him from gaining cursed and hollowed out. Crowns, man. FromSoft and crowns. Okay, so is there anything else anybody wanted to say? Anybody wanted to talk about? Anything I didn't read yet that you think I should? Probably. Like, it doesn't... I don't think the Nameless King headpiece says anything about it specifically. So, I can't remember it saying anything about it. It's supposed to look like a fire. It's like little fire pokes, spike things. Dark Souls 2 crowns look more like traditional crowns, but the Gwyn and Nameless King crowns are very spiky. I don't remember the Nameless King's headpiece saying anything, other than it having a glorious mane of hair. But that's probably what happened to Nameless King. Like, he probably split his soul apart too, because that's just kind of what you did, culture-wise, with the race of the gods. So, that's probably what happened. That, and I don't think Nameless King had the same power in his crown to begin with that Gwyn did. Because Nameless King wasn't a Lord of Cinder. In any case, you guys, thank you for joining me. There's many streams out there, and I'm glad you guys took time to sit here and nerd out about Dark Souls 2. So, thank you very much for joining me. The next stream will be either tomorrow or the next day, at around the same time. Time-stamping these things takes a long time. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining me, and good night.